have traffic every 15 minutes here.
Do we?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't help me when I'm stuck in it.
Right.
You're supposed to
Hey,
listen.
McGraw's letting me know traffic sucks on 40. Guess what?
You're supposed to tune in before you get stuck on 40.
Yeah, these things, they happen.
All right. You, young man, have caused quite a stir once again with your column in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, this time over a small little kindergarten baseball game.
It was really a sad little situation. Creating a stir, I guess, is what I do sometimes.
Yes.
But my column on Wednesday talked about this situation that happened this last weekend where basically there was a CYC baseball game scheduled for two kindergarten teams, one from Mary Queen of Peace and Webster Groves, and they were supposed to play up in U City at Metcalf Park against Our Lady of Lourdes. And a lady from the Mary Queen of Peace team, who I believe was the coach's wife, called the coach of the Our Lady of Lourdes team and said, you know what?
Oh, it was the coach's wife?
To the best of my understanding, it was.
Okay. All right.
That's what I've been told.
Okay.
And I'm not sure he's the coach anymore, but
Okay.
Basically she said, you know what? A whole bunch of us are afraid to go to U City because crime is bad up there. And so could we play the game down in Webster Groves? And the coach in U City said no.
Right.
We play at this park all the time. It's a beautiful, lovely park. It's a kindergarten baseball game. We'll see you on Saturday. And
It's Saturday morning.
it's Saturday morning. And
Right.
she said, no, we're not coming. So they canceled the game.
Right. Then the mother, the wife of the other coach.
The wife of the other coach went to Facebook and was fired up and basically said, this is unbelievable that somebody's fear of crime and of race would cause my kid's game to be canceled
Right.
in U City. What's wrong with this city? We've got to do something to fix it. So that's what my column was about. And, what I particularly enjoyed about it was Father John Vienne, the pastor at Mary Queen of Peace, really came into this situation that's thrown on his platter with a positive attitude and trying to make it a learning experience for both his parish, for the rest of the community, including the woman who wrote the Facebook post, who the priest thought that it was a little bit over the top,
Yeah.
and created this situation where you had people on Facebook, and I'm told on some other websites, kind of going back and forth with each other about parishes and all of that. And so it's an interesting story on a whole lot of levels. The thing that I thought that it brought to the forefront is we still have a problem in St. Louis with our division. And I talked about the Del Mar divide. This park
Right.
happens to be north of Del Mar, and there are still some people historically in this community who think that, boy, you just don't go north of Del Mar, or if you live out where I do in Wildwood, boy, you just don't go, east of 170 or
Right.
east of Skinker or whatever. And we need to get over some of those things. That's the point that I tried to make.
It touches on people who live in St. Charles who don't want to go downtown,
Yep.
or people who live in West County. I'm not going downtown, or I'm not going over there, or I would never go there. I mean, it's ridiculous that you would never not go somewhere because I'm afraid of crime.
Well, and part of the problem is much of it has to do with not really understanding the community and not taking the time to go to different places so that you can understand that most places in St. Louis are completely safe if you're not there at the wrong time for the wrong reason.
Right.
Yesterday I spent part of my afternoon in Pine Lawn. I walk in downtown St. Louis all the time. I take my kid to Cardinals baseball games, and we park at the Post-Dispatch up on Tucker and MLK and
Right.
walk to the game and walk back downtown at night,
Right.
back to our to where the car is. And the fact is, there are things that happen sometimes. There have been some well-publicized cases of assaults and those types of things that happen. They do happen, but they're rare. Most of the violence that happens in St. Louis happens because people doing bad things are out late at night in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
That's the preponderance of violence in St. Louis, and it has no effect on the rest of us. the thing that's interesting about this, one of the things that became interesting about this column to me is, of course, anytime you write about one parish or one school or something like that, a whole lot of people from the one that thinks they look bad gets very defensive.
Right.
And I got a lot of calls from people at Mary Queen of Peace saying, hey, that woman isn't like us, and her kid doesn't even go to our school, and all sorts of those things. And that may be true. And I wasn't trying to say everybody in Webster Groves is like this or whatever.
Right.
But when one individual in our community does something like this, it brings to light other issues that very much do exist in our community, sometimes under the radar screen. And I think it's important to bring these things to light and talk about them and continue to work on them.
I agree. It was a great column, and I agree with you also that probably the majority of the parents of the kids on that team didn't even realize anything. They just got a call and said the game's canceled, and they're like, oh, okay, fine. So most of the kids or the parents weren't even paying attention until the day of the – where am I driving, right? I mean, these parents are so helter-skelter anyway. One or two or three parents all of a sudden make a stink, and then it's the whole team.
And the game's going to be rescheduled, and it's going to be rescheduled at Metcalf Park, and it will probably be the most watched kindergarten baseball game in the history of St. Louis. But you know what? It might be a real positive thing. It might be a great celebration of CYC, of Catholic values, of community unity, of finding a way to just celebrate little kids playing baseball. It'll be a great day when it happens.
The bottom line, they just want to play ball.
It's little kids playing baseball. Speaking of which, my 9-year-old is playing softball for the first time this year.
Yes.
She's very excited. Tonight will be her 4th rainout of her first game. She woke up this morning to have breakfast, and she's just like, I'm never going to play softball.
You should play softball in Cotterville because it doesn't rain in Cotterville.
It never rains, and
you guys are under a bubble.
They never get any tennis ball size hail or anything out there. Anything?
No, only golf ball size.
Only golf ball size. Only golf ball size.
Thank you, Tony Messenger.
Good to be here.
Read his columns, stltoday.com. He's here every Tuesday and Thursday, and rumor is he's filling in for me a couple of times next week, end of the month.
Be very, very afraid.
There you go. 8:27 here, Big 550.